From WVUE TV, New Orleans, this is a Fox 8 special presentation of Endymion 2005. Live from the Louisiana Superdome, here's John Snell and Kim Holden.
Good evening and happy Mardi Gras, and welcome to one of Mardi Gras' biggest parties.
I tell you what, this is a fabulous night, and it's much more than just a parade. In fact, what's happening in the Superdome right now is much more than just a big party. This is a star-studded event, a concert, a dinner dance, you name it. It's all wrapped up in the Endymion extravaganza.
Is that all? They couldn't do more?
That's it.
What is most staggering tonight, Endymion, has the most riders, the most floats. Some would say the most generous members of the crew. By the way, you're seeing Blaine Kern, Mr. Mardi Gras, there with Jerry Romig, the master of ceremonies, on the stage at the moment, talking about the mythological menagerie, which is their theme that they created. Xavier Prep Band on the floor at this time. What is most staggering about tonight is that they're here, because they rolled in at 8:50, which I'll say unofficially is a record for Endymion. Never before 9 o'clock have they ever gotten into the Superdome, unless maybe it was a rainy night and they do what crews do and just bolted. They had perfect weather tonight, no breakdowns, although we understand from Rob Masson, who is on St. Charles Avenue tonight, that there is a little bit of a hitch. Finally, for the first time tonight at Gallier Hall, a little bit of a break, because some unit has had maybe some problems navigating one of those turns or a breakdown or whatever. Not a big problem as far as we know, but this thing has come into the Superdome tonight with lightning speed.
Oh, I know, and we said it a little bit earlier. The people inside the dome were even a little surprised when they said, okay, everybody clear the floor. They knew what to do. People just kind of looked like, where do we go? The parade can't be coming in this early. But we've actually seen the maids' floats, the captain's float, the special guests, the Marissa Tomei. She's already come in, which is amazing.
Gene Simmons from
Gene
Kiss.
Simmons?
Gene Simmons came in, you could argue, let's see, 26 years late, but from having been planned to be the Grand Marshals with Kiss in 1979, the year that Mardi Gras was canceled in New Orleans, the parades anyway. This crew went. There's some videotape from something that's not live, but happened about, oh, I'm sorry, that is live.
Oh, Gene Simmons is live.
Okay, this is how big.
He's on the other side.
We're in the world's largest room, and he is way on the other side and actually making his way out. But I don't know what took so long, actually, because he's been here for about 20 minutes. The other thing that is different about tonight is that for anybody who's ever been to the Endymion extravaganza, Kim, that they take the floats and bring them all the way around the whole inside of the infield.
Right.
This time they tried something a little bit different.
They sure did. They did sort of a hot air balloon configuration inside the dome, and the circle that the floats make is a little bit smaller than it's been in the past. It gives people on both sides of the barricades a better view of the floats coming in. And one of the reasons they said they did this, John, was the bathroom situation. Once the parade starts coming into the Superdome, all those people get stuck inside. And once it comes in, you can't get out to go to the bathroom. And that's hours of not being able to go to the bathroom.
Well, not to mention just the strain on the whole sewerage system when they all go to the bathrooms at the same time. It's sort of like the Super Bowl game, the myth of at the commercial time people run, which I guess is not really true, but they've always said that at commercial time during the Super Bowl game,
there's a change in water pressure.
There's a change in water pressure.
Well,
that is not true. An urban myth.
There is a lot of activity going on inside the dome right now. Like we said, it's been going on for a couple of hours. You're listening to Xavier Prep's band on the floor of the dome right now.
And let's listen in.
with the floats, and that's why we have a few people on the floor this year having themselves a good little time. Our Daryl Green, Summer Jackson, and Eric Clemens are right in the middle of it all. Let's go to Daryl and Summer.
Boy, are we right in the middle of it all. I'm Daryl Green along with Summer Jackson. The Xavier Prep Band, as you said, just coming by, serenading us. You guys kind of covered all the important talking points so far. Marissa Tomei passed by just a moment ago. Did Marissa look, I mean, not only radiant, but I mean, she looked psyched after a 3.5-hour ride, didn't she?
I know, she was very excited. In fact, I remember when she came in, you could hear the announcer saying she has been acting like that since the parade started. So I think she was having a great time, and folks in here were glad to see her. It's just been a wonderful event already. Like you guys said, people were out here dancing before the parade rolled in, and now they're just sitting here and standing in awe, watching as folks go by, the bands, and catching some beats. So it's been a great time on this side. But let's bounce over to Eric Clemens to see how things are going where he's standing. Eric?
Well, I'm experiencing the same thing you guys are. We just saw the Xavier Prep Marching Band go by, but I really enjoyed earlier, this being my first Endymion at all, the big crowd of people that was out here dancing, people loaning me their hats and wanting to boogie with me. And believe me, all of you, I will be boogieing with you a little bit later on. But this is just wow. I mean, usually we'll hear for dull New Orleans Saints game. Sorry about that, Saints fans. But right now, this place has been transformed into a giant party atmosphere. Everybody wants to enjoy the parade as it goes by. Everybody enjoying the music, the festive atmosphere. And I'm going to be in the middle of it throughout the night, wandering around here, going into the crowd, finding out what's going on from down here on the floor. For now, that's it from here. Let's send it back to John and Kim. Guys?
All right, Eric. Well, right now we're looking at, we were looking at the Queen of Endymion, Queen number 39, as she was coming into the Superdome. But we do understand that there is a lull in this parade, as Rob Masson had mentioned a little bit earlier, and there is a breakdown. So we're going to go to Rob Masson at Gallier Hall for more on that.
That's right, Kim. We're here at Gallier Hall, where there's been about a 25-minute lull in the parade. As you can see down, you are looking toward Canal Street down St. Charles right there. Those lights, past all those waving people who are still having a great time here, I might add. You see, we believe it's float number 5. Police officers here on the scene tell us they've had a flat tire. We've had quite a few breakdowns in parades this year. This is the first one we're aware of in Endymion. Like you said, the parade came through here very early. It started passing by about 7 o'clock. We had Marissa Tomei down here at about 7:30. Gene Simmons maybe at 7:45. So we've had this lull here for about 25 minutes, but as Kevin Henry pans over the Gallier Hall stands, you can see people still having a great time. The actress, Patty Clarkson, is still here. Mayor Nagin was here a short while ago. He said he had a few other parades to go to, but he did a rather nice job emceeing festivities down here for the toast with the king and the queen and the celebrities that came through here about 45 minutes to an hour ago. But as you can see behind us, the parade at a complete standstill as they try and repair the flat tire on float number 5. But the music keeps pumping here at Gallier Hall. The folks keep having a good time. It's a perfect night for a parade out here, just as dry as it could be. There's not even any more puddles on the street. We can't quite see stars outside, but you can see the tops of the building, which is a step in the right direction, given the way the weather has been the last couple of weeks of Mardi Gras. But they seem to be frantically working on the float with a flat tire over there right at the corner of Poydras and St. Charles, where it's been basically stuck for the last 25 minutes. But the party continues down here at Gallier Hall, and we'll let you know once this parade gets rolling again. Kim, John, back to you.
All right, thanks, Rob. Boy, that's great when you're there at the spot of the breakdown when it first happens, before the riders realize that, hey, we're not going anywhere, and they stop throwing.
That wears out real fast.
And then after a while, everybody sort of stands around and life stands still. Number 5, we can tell you, is not one of the signature floats. It's the giant roke, which is the big mythical bird in mythological times or stories. So it's not one of the Captain, Eddie's SS Endymion or one of the huge ones. It's a big float because it's an Endymion, but it's one of those that's a normal size float by Endymion standards.
And we just saw the Queen's float come in, and right now you're listening to Archbishop Shaw's band. Let's listen in to them.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, our monarch, longtime member Harry Micel.
When the TV announcer cues the band and when the band stops playing.
The next
Mr. Mardi Gras Blaine Kern, we saw a few minutes ago. Summer Jackson is with him now.
Mr. Mardi Gras, he's going to fill us in on what's new this year out here. Some wonderful floats out here, Mr. Kern.
This is the first time I've ridden a float. I mean, in New Orleans, I ride an Ala every year, but this is at 58 years, first major parade, and it was an awesome crowd. Absolutely the biggest crowd I think I've ever seen. All kind of special effects. This parade has more fiber optics than any other crew, but there is 27 or 28 units, but each unit is a double unit, and then they start up with the maids, A, B, C, D. So it's the biggest crew by far in Mardi Gras, 2,400 members. It's like 3 crews all put together in one.
So how would you rate this year's Endymion parade so far in Mardi Gras so far in New Orleans?
Well, it's a slow start because it's so close to Christmas. But boy, it's caught on like incredible this weekend. This is a monster parade. The weather was absolutely perfect. Therefore, you had an incredible crowd. And I've had a ball like a kid myself. I've been doing it a long time. Thank you, darling. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. So you heard from Mr. Mardi Gras himself. This has been a great start to Mardi Gras. So can you imagine what Fat Tuesday's going to be like? Back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Summer. Can you believe it's Blaine Kern's first time riding in Endymion?
You know,
I didn't even
I'm
think
sure
about
it's
that.
a much different experience for him, too. He's the captain of Ala. He rides on the West Bank every year. But let's face it, the dimensions here are quite a bit different. That was Harry Meisel of Chalmette, King Endymion 39, along with his court gestures as they make their way through the Louisiana Superdome. He'll enjoy his ride, and we'll have more of the Endymion Extravaganza 2005 in a moment.
Harry Meisel, Monarch, Endymion 2000.
This special coverage of Endymion 2005 is sponsored by Wendy's 1 a.m. pickup window. Eat great, even late.
So that everyone here at the Extravaganza will get to see the same thing that everyone on the parade route saw. Floats, rows, and I think most importantly,
Carver Senior High School Marching Band. And once again, there is a direct relationship between when the TV guy says, hey, here's the band.
the band's
and when
following the marching band.
There they go.
Patience.
To the left of your screen there, you saw Daryl Green. Daryl plays the guitar, and I think he might have wanted to join in.
He looks like he's about to get run over by the band. He is joining in.
That's a long, long trip, and they don't look any worse for the wear.
They are so happy to be coming into the dome at this time of the night.
Do you think they sleep all day Wednesday? Because they probably have at least 2, maybe 3 more parades through Fat Tuesday. Probably do Bacchus. Might do either Rex or Zulu.
Sleep all day Wednesday?
Maybe. No, you don't think so?
No, I don't think so. I think they're used to this.
Yelled at, I don't know what to do.
All right, I heard somebody on the floor earlier asking, where's Bob? Well, guess what? Summer Jackson found him. Summer?
You've got that right, Kim. I found our very own Bob Breck. You know, Bob, earlier today I talked to, or earlier this evening rather, I just talked to Blaine Kern. He said he was really glad about the weather. He said it was great weather today, so you were dead on.
Well, the weather in the dome always is nice, that's for sure, but the weather outside was Well, we said on Tuesday it was going to be great. This was an easy forecast to make. We've got out-of-town company. This is my wife, Brenda. We have her family, her sister and husband in from Dallas. This is their first Mardi Gras, and that's always a treat. You know, we get this every year, and the people from out of town say, I can't believe this. It's incredible. And I think when you get the weather like this, it just is perfect.
You know, this is actually my first Endymion extravaganza.
Your first Endymion, what do you think?
I think it's great so far. So far, what are your family members thinking?
Oh, they're loving it. They can't believe. They think it's like New Year's Eve all night long. It's great.
I know, this is absolutely unbelievable. So you guys are having a great time so far?
You bet. You know, it's coming from my brother-in-law. He said, they don't do this in Dallas. You bet you don't.
There's no city like New Orleans. There's no city like it. Thank you, guys. You guys want to say anything else to us?
Happy Mardi Gras!
Mardi Gras.
Hey, Summer.
Yeah.
Summer, go get the in-laws, will you? Let's hear what they have to say. Go tell Bob to go get his brother-in-law.
Okay.
And he can explain to us what they don't do in Dallas.
You know what? Bob just walked away, but I will definitely try to get him to do that so we can, we can hear a little bit more about what they don't do in Dallas, because it's all about New Orleans tonight. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Summer. You take it for granted, you do, and we talk about it, of course, on Tuesday, and how the stockbrokers work up in the skyscrapers and deal with the guy in New York, and it's another business day for some people. This is another Saturday night in the rest of America.
People in the rest of America do not understand what this is all about unless they've been here, experienced it, lived through it, and lived to tell about it.
The very first float of the regular floats is moving in now. Papa Joe's SS Endymion made its debut in 1976. This was the first of the super floats, the largest float in Mardi Gras when it debuted. Has created a proud tradition, I guess you would say, passed on by the crew over the years of getting bigger and better, of innovation, and they've redone it. Actually, there's a whole new smokestack with a lot of fiber optic lighting. Many of, that's sort of been their trademark. And it's interesting, I happened to be on Chapatulas earlier today and saw the parade lining up. I don't know if they had all of the floats, but it was lined up and they looked great. And we had seen them the other day, last weekend, when we went and looked at the floats along with the crew. The look is so much different at night. This really is a more majestic parade tonight, as you'll see as the night goes on. They've captured more of the pageantry and the majesty and more of a floral look to some of the crews or to some of the floats. But this is a nighttime parade designed for these floats to run at night, and they just pop out at you.
Well, a lot of that has to do with the fiber optic lighting. I mean, there are several floats in this parade that have more than 1 million feet. 1 million feet of fiber optic lighting, if you can even imagine that.
I think there are some little towns in America that don't have 1 million feet of fiber optic lighting.
Exactly, and to imagine that one float could have 1 million feet. Right now you are looking at another band coming in, St. Paul's from Covington. Coming into the Superdome.
Please note, walking and not crawling in. They're doing okay. Rob Masson can give us an update from Gallier Hall on the problems over there with the parade. Rob?
Yeah, John, there is a problem with the parade, but there is no problem with the party mood out here at Gallier Hall. What you're looking at right now is an impromptu street party, about 300 people learning how to do the Mississippi slide out here in front of Gallier Hall. Mardi Gras fans are nothing if they're not adaptive. The problem here is we haven't seen any fiber optic float or any type of float of any description for about the last 35 minutes. If we look down Poydras Street if we look down St. Charles toward Poydras, you can see that this float, we're looking at a pickup truck now backing up to the float, but we now understand that the float, we believe it's float number 5, has been held up with not 1 but 2 flat tires. So we're sort of wondering why they don't just pull it off of the parade route at that point. They are at Poydras Street. It seems like a natural place to pull it off and repair it. But as you know, John and Kim, these floats are gigantic. Most of them are 2 and 3 sections. Perhaps they can't pull it off that easily. but for whatever the reason, we've had a major delay in the parade here after things have been going very, very smoothly throughout the evening. These folks are having a great time. I don't think anybody is going home yet, but they seem to be trying to maneuver trucks into position to repair not one but two flat tires on these floats that are of course carrying huge amounts of beads and doubloons and cups. You know, when they load them on with forklifts, you got to wonder if the floats could really handle the amount of weight that they're being called on to handle. But for whatever reason, we've heard about a number of breakdowns in different parades throughout this Mardi Gras season. And of course, after things were going very smoothly tonight for Endymion, we've got not one but two flat tires on a float over there at Poydras at St. Charles. But as you can see, Kevin Henry pans back down to the street. We can see that one of those impromptu block parties has broken out now. It almost stretches about, well, a good fifth of this rather large block here out in front of historic Gallier Hall. Out-of-towners are being invited to come on down and learn how to do the Mississippi Slide. And of course, as you can see down there, some people can do it better than others. I hope I don't have to get down there because I could never do it. But anyway, folks are having a good time down here. There's a great sound system out here. And as we wait for this parade to start moving again, and I do think we see it moving again. It looks like they have finally repaired the float. We believe it's float number 5. And the police cars and the units seem to be moving back down St. Charles towards us, moving from Canal Street to Lee Circle as it makes its way to you guys over in the Superdome. So good news to report. After about a 40-minute delay, the float is moving again. The flat tires seem to be repaired.
Man, I was so looking forward to seeing Rob Masson doing that Mississippi Slide.
Well, you know, we may have a little time. We might bring Rob over here and ask him to do that because with a 45-minute lull, I'm not exactly sure what we'll see. But that's the good thing about having the camera at Gallier is we may see a lot of the parade on St. Charles Avenue tonight. Rob talked about the weight. I was in the Bacchus Den yesterday doing a story about their NFL theme that they'll have tomorrow night, and they have a brand new double-decker float with their figure is 80,000 pounds in riders and in plastic that they asked that float to carry. Each of them, it's a double tandem float, 80,000 pounds. I asked the figure, and I won't exaggerate, you've got to figure that somewhere with an average Endymion or Bacchus float, not the big super floats, but your basic float, somewhere in the neighborhood of 30,000 to 35,000 pounds that these sets of tires and these chassis are being asked to support.
And you know, there are inspectors who look at the floats before they go out, but I mean, obviously when a float that big has two flat tires, it's a little more difficult to change than just a regular small float that might only have one flat tire. Now this year we do have a little something different for you. Our own Val Bracey is actually riding on a float. She came into the Superdome just a little while ago. And we're going to be bringing you her ride throughout the night, but she had a chance to interview Marissa Tomei during the ride, the Grand Marshal. Here's Val.
John and Kim, I finally made my way up the stairs to Marissa. We're going to ask her a couple questions if we can get her attention. She's having a lot of fun. Marissa, have you ever ridden in a Mardi Gras parade before?
Yeah, all the time.
You've probably seen a lot in your days in Hollywood. Has anything compared to Mardi Gras?
Really fun.
What have you done while you've been in New Orleans?
I can't hear you.
What have you done since you've been in New Orleans?
I'm just doing this right now. That's what I'm doing.
All right, one last question. Give me an exclusive. What's next for Marissa Tomei?
You want to throw something?
Thanks. John and Kim, as you can see, she's having a little too much fun to talk to us right now. We'll see you later.
The problem is she just can't hear.
Right, she can't hear, but do you blame her? I mean, who has a chance to ride in a Mardi Gras parade like this and then all of a sudden you have to answer questions?
One of my favorite celebrity kings was the late Lorne Greene, who was Bacchus about, 20 or 21 years ago. And on St. Charles Avenue, I'll never forget, he just looked stunned. He had such an assault on his senses, he couldn't believe that there were, 15 and 20 people deep in line.
But you could see Marissa when she was coming into the Superdome. She was having herself a ball.
She was into it, and I will tell you something, you think celebrity and you think somebody who believes they're a big deal. A very humble approach she took yesterday. Talked about when she was a little girl, she always wanted to be the queen. and I think she made people in New Orleans, the crew members, the officers of Endymion, and those of us around, made you feel special. She did not come in and act like someone who had celebrity status. She was like a kid who was going to get kicked out of this.
All right, well, we are live in the Superdome for the Endymion extravaganza as the float number 2 comes into the dome. We're going to take a quick break and be back with more in just a few minutes. And we are live at the Endymion extravaganza, where the party has been going on now for what, more than an hour?
There's a party?
This is unbelievable.
This safely could be the world's biggest party. I guess they do have, you know, that thing in Rio that's pretty big on
That's
this night.
Kind of big. But you
that's
know,
kind of big.
We thought this party was for Mardi Gras, for Endymion, but Daryl Green tells us this party's for somebody else.
Guys, it's amazing. 15,000 people. Imagine having a birthday party and 15,000 people show up. There are floats, a grand marshal, actors, actresses. That's exactly what has happened for Nikki Prejean. Nikki, happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
Nikki Prejean of New Orleans. I'm assuming you are 29 years old.
You got it. Yes, indeed.
I'm thinking this is not your first Endymion.
Yes, it is.
This is your first Endymion? So you had to know this was falling on your birthday. Talk about the plan leading up to this.
This is the greatest birthday ever.
You're going to get Gene Simmons to cut the cake?
Yes.
How old are you really?
I'm
31.
34.
See, we only threw out by 2 years. Nikki Prejean, happy birthday. Hey, I understand the Queen's mother is actually right here. This is the Queen of Endymion's mother.
My son is coming.
Your son is also riding?
Yeah, right here. Wait, he's coming at the end of the float.
So your son is riding and your daughter was the queen.
Yep. Yes, that's true.
What is your name, please, ma'am?
Roseanne Citron.
Roseanne, congratulations. You have to be extremely proud.
Thank you. Watch out. You're going to get hit.
I'm used to it, I promise. I'm working in a combat zone. Wow. All right, guys. We're taking a lot of fire here. Back to you upstairs where it's safe.
Oh, no, let's stick with you, Daryl.
We need to stay with Daryl.
The title float, by the way, mythological menagerie. You know, one of the really cool things about being a member of Congress, a new member of Congress, is a front row seat for Endymion. Summer Jackson is with Bobby Jindal.
That's right. We were trying to catch a little bit of action there with the parade coming in as well. I do have Congressman Bobby Jindal and his wife Sabria with us. She just got an awesome catch there.
Got a football.
Tell me so far, he says this is his second time at Endymion. Tell me what it's been like this year.
What a great party. What a great Mardi Gras. You know, the weather's cooperating. We brought a bunch of people from in town, from out of town. They're having a great time. Great time.
You told me earlier today you did an interview, and they were wondering why you were all dressed up. Talk to me about that.
That's right. We're actually on national Fox News nationally with another congressman from New Jersey. 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm wearing a tuxedo. They had no idea. I told them, I don't dress like this every day, but we have a special holiday down here. We try to tell Congress we should take this week off, but unfortunately, we've got votes. We're going back to D.C. But this is a great party, a great celebration. You know, we hope that everybody is safe this weekend. We hope that everybody enjoys it with their families. It should be a great Mardi Gras. We can hope it won't rain on us.
Okay, thanks a lot. You have fun, guys. Thank you so much. Lots and lots of dignitaries here, but as you can see, when Mardi Gras is happening, that's what they have on the parade. Mardi Gras, the parade. He was dressed up going to a network interview. So that's something else. That tells you what's really going on. Back to you guys up top.
All right.
All right, you
Thanks,
saw the
Summer.
Queen's mother. The Queen's mother was just loaded down with beads. Bobby Jindal's wife got the football, but we've got some throws for you.
We do.
We have
Would you
some
like
pretty
to,
unique
I
throws.
happen to have a little bag here. We'll just dip in here.
Yeah, we've got, well,
You can show off that while I reach for others.
this is just a little Endymion doll that, I don't know if that this is really new, but this right here might be my favorite. This one right here. This is the dancing Endymion doll. And I think it was around last year, actually, but this year, apparently, it was extremely popular. We're going to show you why. Look at this. Can you see? The dancing Endymion doll. Whoa!
And that actually is what a lot of people attending Endymion will be doing
At the end
later
of the night.
in the evening. He actually probably has more balance than
goodness.
most people who are
plays
down on the floor.
He plays a little song, plays a little Mardi Gras mambo, a little Mardi Gras song and dances. This was the hot item this year. We went to see the floats last weekend, and people were snatching up these dolls like crazy.
This is what you went to journalism school for,
This is
Kim.
it.
Right there, so you could demonstrate the dancing Endymion doll.
But I can promise you, people are not throwing the dancing Endymion doll off these floats tonight. That would hurt somebody. They're throwing the mythological menagerie beads, the usual Endymion throws.
They might have an insurance problem if they threw them, you know, like Zulu with the coconuts. I think that what Jindal ought to do, and the other congressmen, is just invite down members of a really important committee and take them to Mardi Gras, and maybe about 3 or 4 hours from now into the evening, you know, pitch them on the wetlands. And we might solve the wetlands problem in one night if we would just take that approach.
And loosen them all up a little bit.
Right, and loosen them up, right. Throw a few congressmen down with that crew there, and good things might happen.
Well, you are looking at the party inside the Superdome, but I gotta tell you, even though this party started early, this party is going to be going on a lot longer, probably, than we expected, with floats coming in because of that breakdown a little bit earlier near Gallier Hall, and that's where Rob Masson is right now to give us an update.
Well, Kim, the parade, as we reported about 10 minutes ago, is moving again. I have a correction to make. It wasn't float number 5, it was float number 9 with the double flat tires. But things are going well here again. We're coming up on, I think it's float number 13, the Sirens, as the mythical menagerie continues down here on a beautiful night for a parade at historic Gallier Hall on St. Charles Avenue. This is a fabulous parade. It looks like it's a two-parter, double-decker. They are throwing till it hurts, as they like to do. You basically just have to shield yourself with the beads as it pulls alongside. You'll get a feel for exactly just how much they will throw to you. We're gonna actually try this time. Throw something! Hey, throw us! Throw me something, mister! Woo-hoo-hoo! They're going crazy, as you can see. These guys have loaded down these floats with so many beads, and they seem like they're determined to get rid of them. This huge bags coming down, showering. All you got to do is raise your hand. They also seem to be smart enough to where if you're not looking for thank you, they will not throw them back to you. So I've sort of opened the door on this one, but once you start waving, that's all you need to do. Of course, the light from the camera doesn't hurt either, but certainly this parade has a reputation of being one of the most generous at Carnival. Everybody out here is having a good time. As you can see behind me, some of these people did not wait for Fat Tuesday, the costume. They brought the devil out to the parade, and a couple of people who are going to try and keep an eye on the devil. But everybody's having a good time out here at Gallier Hall as they enjoy a very, very generous Endymion crew that is rolling again now after about a half an hour lull. So we'll throw it back to you guys in the Superdome, but we're having a great time out here. Well, guys, we are back at St. Charles Avenue outside of Gallier Hall. We're being pelted big time. Float number 14 just came by here as the mythical menagerie continues. These guys, I mean, look at the weight of these beads. I've got about, this is a good 3 or 4 pounds right here. I'm starting to realize just how thin these tuxedo pants are because my legs are actually stinging right now from the bag loads of beads that they're throwing to us out here. And we're, of course, throwing them to the people behind us who don't quite have the distance, the proximity to the parade that we have. We're in a great spot right here. We're just being pelted with beads left and right. As you can see behind us, just another one of the great bands of Endymion coming by right now. And everybody is just having a wonderful time now that the parade is rolling again. Just a beautiful setting for a parade out here outside Gallier Hall, a building that took it on the chin a little bit this week with a small fire out back, but as you can see, it's rolling now beautifully, providing a perfect backdrop for Carnival. There's basically not an empty seat in the reviewing stands out here. These people have been enjoying a great parade for about 3 hours, except for the little lull. But no one is complaining at all. It's just a wonderful evening for a parade. And you almost get the sense out here that after a week that's seen a lot of overcast skies, a lot of wet weather, that there does seem to be some relief, that it's just such a beautiful night for a parade. Weather has a great deal to do with people's enjoyment of Mardi Gras. They try and roll the parades one way or another, but as everybody knows, when you're standing outside in the elements for 2 or 3 hours, it does make a big difference when the weather is nice, and the weather could not be any nicer here tonight. A little chill in the air, keeping everything moving, and we're coming up on the Dolphins float. Looks like number 19. Just some beautiful mythical dolphins out in front. It's sort of a purple crepe paper design. It looks like the Endymion floats this year. Yes, they've always been sort of innovative, and they've used a lot of fiber optics, but these floats seem to be using a little bit more of the old style, a little bit more of the softer style, the softer look, the paper mache flowers on the side, kind of a looser shape to the floats rather than the tighter, more rigid shape that we've seen in the past. This float is number 15. It's called Dolphins, and we're just going to kind of crank them up a little bit and see what they want to throw at us this time, and give you a feel for just how generous this parade is. When you look away, I mean, they really know what they're doing. When you look away, they don't throw them at you, but if you show them that you're ready, they really do pound you. Oh my God, now that one's going to hurt. That one left a mark. I was warned by Jeff Baskin to bring a hard hat to this gig, and that's not a bad idea. A football helmet would be good too. But as you can see, they are just unbelievably generous, having a good time. We're going to feed them back. Some of the people in the back rows, let them have a good time too. But there's a lot of people in the stands out here at Gallier Hall who are not from New Orleans. That's a direct shot on Kevin Henry. Took a light, thank you, sir. We were getting some assistance from some of the people here who are benefiting from our prime location. Getting all kinds of beads and everything. Look down here on the ground. I mean, it's just unreal what we are collecting on this stand. And I'm feeding back to some of the friends back there so they can enjoy it too. But as you can see, Endymion, as generous as always. Beautiful floats coming by. Seem to have a little bit of a softer touch to them this year. Bands are plentiful. And look what we have coming down the street now. It's some sort of Smoky Mary. It looks like an old, it's an old steam tractor pulling a trailer filled with, it looks like wood scraps from Hesper, Iowa. This is sort of unique and somewhat incongruous with all the modern floats that we've seen here, all the great technology, all the new tractors we see pushing these huger floats. I don't think I've seen this site before. It's old steam tractors, and it looks like we've got a steam calliope coming up behind it. So it's sort of an interesting touch to Mardi Gras that we haven't seen before. But everybody's having a great time. A little lull between the floats, a little time to soothe our wounds after some of the barrages that we've been taking. It's the Winona.
Well, did we lose Rob Masson? I think he was having too much fun out there.
I think we lost him in the steam. I will say, though, that that's a whole new concept in design, if you think about it. Rob's suggestion for padding in the tucks.
You think?
I think there are some practical applications to it. I think that's certainly something that, you know, maybe the Queen who's studying for fashion design might want to look into that.
I tell you, if his legs are stinging, he's got trouble because he's only on float? What, 14 maybe?
Yeah, it could be a very long night. If he gets weighted down with any more, he may have trouble coming back. You know, it's always interesting to take a behind-the-scenes look. When you're watching a parade, you lose track of all the nuances, all the planning, almost a D-Day operation that goes into pulling off a parade. And that includes getting the floats in and out of the Superdome. Everybody knows of air traffic controllers, of course. Eric Clemens has been talking to, I guess you'd call them the float traffic controllers.
I'm Eric Clemens at the entrance, and I'm looking at one of the most important people of the night here at the Endymion coming into the Superdome. That is Earl. It is his first year as an air traffic controller, only it's all ground traffic. He's got to stop certain traffic while certain floats leave the arena and other floats and bands come marching in. So even though everybody around here is enjoying everything they're seeing, Earl and some of the other Endymion people are responsible for keeping the flow of traffic smooth so you can enjoy not those long waits as the procession goes around the interior of the Superdome here. Here the Queen of Endymion float is making her return. She's going out waving goodbye to everybody. Is the Queen of Endymion. Earl making sure everything going smoothly. And when that goes, along with the Shaw Eaglettes and the Shaw Marching Band, they too will exit. You see them directing traffic. Then they're going to let the next float in, which is going to be the Grand Marshal. So that's the way it's coming right here at the entrance on the floor of the Superdome. Quickly, some of the people enjoying it too. Look at all of the beads and everything everybody's got. They got more than me. I'm almost knocking people's cameras over. Hey, that's the story from here, but you got a lot of important people working around here to make sure this Endymion experience is A-OK for everyone. Guys, back to you.
And I would imagine it is pretty chaotic out there. I mean, you've got floats coming in, floats going out, and people getting off, people getting on. I mean, it gets a little crazy.
And big floats, too.
Right, exactly.
These things aren't 30 feet long.
No, and you know, the man who is responsible for putting all of this together, we just call him Mr. Endymion, but he's been the captain and founder of Endymion since 1966, if you can believe that. The year that I was born, John, 1966. Ed Munis has been doing this.
Don't give away your
Well, you know. Summer Jackson is on the floor of the Superdome with Ed right now. Summer?
We sure do. We have him right here. We have the captain of Endymion. You're exactly right. He has been captain since 1966. Tell me, so far, how do you think things are going? I know this is the 39th year for Endymion. You've got to be excited.
A beautiful parade. We've had a great season. We had a little problem with some of the generators tonight. Other than that, it ran real smooth. And as you know, it's about 10:15, and we already have almost half of the floats in. So all's going well, despite of the big crowds that were out tonight.
Do you think that you guys broke a record tonight by getting into the Superdome?
Well, we got in about, 5 minutes to 9, maybe 10 minutes to 9. It was a good night. So we usually get in between 8:45 and 9:15. We didn't have any real serious mishaps tonight. But it went real well. The floats are beautiful. The crowds were big and receptive. All the celebrities had a good time. So we're just well pleased. Most of all, we thank God for the good weather and Bob Breck for letting us know it was going to happen.
He was exactly right. We talked to him earlier, and he said, there's always good weather in the Superdome, so that's a good thing.
There's always 72 degrees there. With wind out of the air conditioner at about 2 miles an hour.
Right. So far, how would you rank this year's Endymion extravaganza and parade? How do you think everything went?
I think it went real well. One problem was that we had a problem with some of our generators. But that's another story. But frankly, if we would not have had the generator problem, we probably got here at 8 o'clock. So I'm sorry we had the problem. But it didn't really hurt us. We like to get in around 8:45, 9 o'clock. So we like to be in when y'all go in the air.
All right, thanks a lot. You enjoy the rest of the evening. So as you can see so far, Endymion is going great out here, and folks are out here on the floor having a great time. I hope you guys are having a great time up there, so I'm going to send it back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Summer. Ed Munis, I'm sure not being deceptive. He's just unaware that they had a pretty major breakdown at Gallier Hall tonight. I'm sure he'll learn a little bit more about that. But you know, given the pace tonight with the fact that half of the parade is in the Superdome, overall, pretty remarkable.
Right, and I mean, you heard him say, oh, usually we get in here about 8:45. Well, not really. I mean, they haven't gotten in the dome at 8:45 in quite some time. So Ed doesn't usually check his watch, but that's okay. Right now we're going to throw it down to Darrell Green, who's also on the floor of the Superdome.
Hey guys, I'm here with Senator Ken Hollis, State Senator Ken Hollis. Senator, first of all, tell me about this party. You enjoying this?
This is the best party in America, right here in the Superdome, Endymion. It is wonderful.
How's your Mardi Gras been so far? I mean, the city was talking about, week 1, hotels full, week 2, kind of a slump. It seems like the party hasn't led up to me.
Well, it might be a little off because of how close it is. It's early, probably the earliest Mardi Gras we've had. But the bottom line is everybody's having a great time. Hotels are still doing great, so it's been a great Mardi Gras. Been a little rain, but it's getting better.
Senator, almost every time we talk to you about the Saints. You're very close to the negotiations, very involved with what's going on between the state and Mr. Benson. Can you kind of give us an update? I mean, I know things have been going on now for a couple of weeks.
Well, I think, first of all, it's not a matter, can we afford to keep the Saints? The matter is, can we afford to lose them? And the answer to me is that no, we cannot afford to lose them. I think there's enough common ground that we can get the deal done. And I kind of believe it's not that the answer is not yet surfaced, because I think we can get it done.
I guess that is the most pressing question. Is this going to happen?
Oh, I think so. I don't think there's any doubt about it. And we might have to go back to something like, well, perhaps we ought to just eliminate our outs, eliminate their outs, and say, let's just cool off for 4 years and go ahead and renovate the dome, scale back renovation, and go year to year, and I think we can get that done.
All right, Senator, enough business. You go enjoy the party.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for talking to us. Thank you, sir. Senator Ken Hollins coming down here on the parade route to talk to us. Man, half a dozen floats have been by so far. The party's really just getting started. It seems like there's more of a crowd down here than there was just a few minutes ago. So things are really starting to crank up. Of course, the Top Cats are on stage cranking out the jams, as my good friend Rob Schulte would say. He's one of the lead singers there. Guys, back to you upstairs.
All right, thanks, Darryl. That's kind of dangerous to ask a politician about public policy issues.
Boy, I tell
in
you,
this state of mind.
I hope we were rolling tape on that, because you just never know what they're going to say at the Endymion extravaganza.
We do have other uses for this room, though, as Endymion proves.
That's right. And we told you a little bit earlier that we're bringing you something totally different this year. Endymion through the eyes of a rider, and that's our Val Bracey rode the parade, and midway through the parade she had this to show us.
Riding in the parade was spectacular, but I don't know, entering the dome might be even more so. Endymion riders are greeted by 10,000 guests who are waiting here for them to make a circle around the dome so that everyone here at the extravaganza will get to see the same thing that everyone on the parade route saw. Floats, throws, and I think most importantly, Marissa Tomei. She was definitely a big hit tonight. There are also fireworks tonight as the floats roll in with a police escort. Once they do roll in and make the circle around the dome, the last float comes in. It's like the parade route all over again in here. Tossing beads. Once we make it around, and the last float makes it around, you can see Marissa Tomei up there on the big screen. She's getting quite a welcome from the Endymion guests here. This is the Endymion extravaganza, and it's going to be an extravagant night.
All right, that was our Val Bracey riding on Marissa Tomei's float, and I mean, you can just imagine what it is like to ride an Endymion and look into a crowd that is 15, 20 people deep, arms just waving at you like nothing else.
Or the sheer panic when, upon arriving in the Superdome, you realize you have 5 more boxes of throws, which is partly what happens to some of these guys. Very rare is it that you'll see a rider, even in the Superdome, say, oh, I'm out.
And if they do, they better jump off the float.
Right, well, there are spouses and family members and friends who are here, and maybe some special throw you were saving from somebody. But a lot of times you'll see guys get close to the dome or get in the dome and realize, oh no, because they do throw until it hurts.
Right, and they don't save it till next year. I mean, they go all out on this parade. They spend a lot of money to ride. They spend a lot of money on their throws. And what do they say? Nobody leaves Endymion empty-handed.
And Eric Clemens is finding that out as he's trying to set a land speed record tonight for catching throws. Here's Eric.
All right, guys, I'm still by the front entrance, and there's a little strategy to being in the front row here. You get all the beads as the floats just come in. I got a few people here that are experts, as you can see. They got the lighted ones glowing and stuff, the fleur-de-lis. Let me tell you something. First of all, how did you get right here in the front here? Is there a strategy to this? Did you get here early? Come early? How early did you come?
7:30. 8 o'clock.
7:30, 8 o'clock. All right. Now, we got advice from her earlier. You got to watch your face around here, right? You were giving us some advice earlier. Now, you've been hit by beads and stuff before?
Many times. My husband has been riding for the last 12 years, and you end up with a couple of black eyes if you're not careful.
But the plus side to that is you look like a hip-hop artist here with all this jewelry around you there.
My bling-bling.
Your bling-bling. Well, enjoy the night, everybody. I appreciate you joining us. So you see, there's strategy about catching all the beads. Now, I got to be honest with you. She gave me these white ones, and I know this young lady here gave me a blinking one, but I'll take them, all right? I'm not ashamed to beg for beads because the people on the floats aren't throwing me any. Guys, back to you.
All right. Eric's got to get to work. Obviously, Eric, you're not doing enough to get those beads. It's not hard.
Bling bling made in China. We'll have more of our coverage of Endymion 2005 in a moment.
Well, the party at the Dome is just getting started. Some awesome performers will soon take the stage, and the music will rock until the wee hours of the morning. Now, the Nobles took the stage just a little while ago. The Top Cats will begin playing after float number 3 rolls in, which that already happened, obviously, since we got these floats in a little bit early. They'll perform for the first half of the parade, then Rockin' Doopsie takes the stage. The Pointer Sisters will perform around 11:30, which is a little less than an hour away, and Hootie and the Blowfish begin, yes, at 1 a.m., if you can believe that, and Cowboy Mouth. Cowboy Mouth closes out the show. So this party goes on till all hours of the morning.
And then, as insane as it might seem, some of these people will go home and get ready for Bacchus.
Oh yeah, no sleep.
I was talking to one of the Bacchus officers the other day, and he mentioned that they do have crew members who finish their evening here, go home and change and get ready to ride in that parade tomorrow. I did the 2 events, this and then the Bacchus Escapade,
Bacchus Bash.
Bacchus Bash, excuse me. The next night, they all run together, don't they? Excuse me. And I got to tell you, I was beat on Monday morning, so I don't know how people do that year in and year out, but it does happen. When last we heard from Rob Masson, he was in training, getting pelted on St. Charles Avenue. Rob, how you doing, man?
John, Endymion's bringing on the pain here at Gallier Hall. It's unbelievable. I'm going to have to turn a little bit and watch as float 20 comes by here. I don't see a title on this one, but it is gigantic, like they all have been. It's double-decker, and as you can see, oh, these are pretty. They'll start throwing. Thank you very much. They will start throwing as soon as you wave your hand, and some of it has been quite painful. I've got a small knot on my head, and a lot of my skin is stinging. But these guys seem to be a little bit tamer than some of the others we've seen, thankfully. But we're having a great time out here. Here comes a bunch of Cubs incoming. Somebody's waving a tiger over there. It's another beautiful float. Plenty of beads. They are just going crazy. This is a generous, generous parade, folks, and much to the delight of the thousands of people here at Gallier Hall, having a great time on a beautiful evening, watching the parade come by. We've seen about 4/5 of it. It's been going beautifully throughout most of the night, except for the small lull. And now, as you see, some of our servicemen coming by. We've probably seen about, oh gosh, I guess a dozen military units here today. This one looks like one of the units out of the Naval Support Activity in Algiers, and they are playing to the delight of the crowd. Everybody's having a good time out here at Gallier Hall as the parade moves by. We've got another float coming up behind us. That's number 21. And just take in that sight down there. It's just gorgeous up against One Shell Square. You've got some trees out here on a beautiful evening. The bands sound great as they go by Gallier Hall. They just resonate up against the buildings. And everybody, of course, plays at this spot. If you've never caught a parade at Gallier Hall, it's a beautiful place to catch a parade. It's very, very comfortable. There has not been a single problem with the crowds here tonight at all, other than that they are plentiful, and people want to get down as close as they can to the parade, down at the bottom of the stands. For a while there, they were trying to clear the stands to kind of keep an emergency exit, but after about an hour of attempting to keep people away from these beautiful, magnificent, generous floats, they finally gave up, and now they let everybody go down as close as they could get. The street has been clear here. New Orleans Police Department doing a fine job keeping the street clear here, keeping the parade moving, save for the flat tires and a few toasts from the Grand Marshal, Marissa Tomei, who came by earlier, as well as from Gene Simmons with Kiss. And of course, the King and the Queen of Endymion all stopped for a few moments, maybe about 3 minutes each, holding up the parade just a little bit. But for the most part, the street has been clear here. These magnificent floats continue to move through, and these very generous riders keep pelting us and pelting the crowd here at Gallier Hall, letting them know that if they're not the most generous crew in Carnival, there can be no argument that they're one of the most generous crews in Carnival. So another beautiful float coming by, throwing lots of beads. And guys, I'll be headed to you in the Superdome shortly. And I got a feeling they're going to have a few of these left. They still seem to be pretty loaded down with beads. As once they hit this spot, they're about 4/5 of the way finished with their route, and of course they're headed to the Superdome now for the big extravaganza where you guys are. That'll continue till 4 o'clock in the morning.
Rob, can you hear me? I know it's noisy out there.
I hear you, John.
How are the crowds out there tonight? Do you have any kind of a gauge as you've walked along?
Well, the crowd here is as big as I've ever seen it before. Certainly they're not spilling onto the street. Kevin, if you look down toward Lee Circle, and you can see a little bit, get a better feel for it. Gallier Hall is certainly full throughout the evening. Everybody having a blast. They've got a great sound system and a DJ over there sort of keeping things going when there's no music in the parade. But as you look down toward Lee Circle, you might get a better feel for how the crowd is. The street is clear, John. They've got barricades along here. I would estimate that there may be 7 or 8 deep on both sides, but it seems to be comfortable. There's a lot of stands on this stretch, so you don't have a lot of crowd spilling out on the street. We were in Tux earlier today. Those crowds were very nice. I wouldn't say they're the biggest I've ever seen. I'm somewhat familiar with Tux, but it's a good crowd. And everybody's, I think, is very appreciative of the wonderful weather we're having today.
All right. Thanks so much, Rob Messon, live tonight at Gallier Hall on St. Charles Avenue.
And right now we have float number 11 coming into the Superdome. This one is titled Callisto. And we haven't had a big chance to tell you about the floats coming into the dome and kind of what they mean, but Mythological Menagerie is really fascinating when you look at the floats and the meaning behind them. They're just so deep into Greek mythology, and it's unbelievable.
And I think the other thing that's important about this being number 11 is that I believe it was number 9 that broke down. So it means that the lull that we've had here, they made up some of that time. They made up some of that 45 minutes at Gallier Hall. And this is nothing official, just kind of going out on a limb or putting 2 and 2 together. It seems as if it is back on pace now, and that the rest of the parade will in fact be moving through.
This means floats were going 60 miles an hour down Girard to get to the Superdome so that we wouldn't have a lull.
That's right. As people on Girard looked and said, boy, that was fast.
Anyway, we have, Mardi Gras attracts so many people. It attracts people from all over the country, but even from all over the world. I mean, people come from as far as England.
Do they now?
They do now.
That's a coincidence because Summer Jackson is with someone.
You're exactly right. I'm on the floor, and there are thousands of people here, and oh, wow, that hurt. And believe it or not, I discovered somebody who's actually here from England. She's right here trying to catch some more beads. You just caught your first beads about 10 minutes ago. Tell me how that happened.
I put my hands out and stuff just came my direction. It was ever so exciting.
Your first method wasn't working. What was that?
I think it was going like this in a kind of protection thing because they kind of throw pretty hard down here. So
now this is your first Mardi Gras? Tell me about it.
It is my first Mardi Gras. I'm from England, and for a reserved English person, this is like very un-English, but it's very fun.
Well, thanks a lot for having an un-England kind of time with us here in New Orleans.
I'm trying my best. What can I say?
All right, now I promised her, because before she didn't have any beads, I promised her, if you just talk to me for a little bit, I promise I'll share my beads. So I'm going to give her these beads and be really New Orleans-like and share. All right, you guys, back to you.
Okay, thanks, Summer. Very un-English. What is it they say? New Orleans is America's most only Mediterranean city. So certainly Mardi Gras is not un-American. It's the American carnival, but nothing like it anywhere else. Certainly in the continental U.S. And we'll have more of the sights and sounds of Endymion 2005 in a moment.
Guys, the parade keeps passing by Gallier Hall. This is number 25, the Cyclops. This guy's got problems. Only one eye in the front of his forehead. A beautiful float, however, and I am going to now put my arms up and shield myself from the onslaught of these generous float riders on this wonderful, wonderful parade. It's just been a great night out here at Gallier Hall. We've got about 3 or 4 more floats to go. And as you can see behind me, this is another one of those two-parters, double-decker, every position filled with people who are extremely generous. They must spend several thousands of dollars on each one of these floats for the beach. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. And we are sharing the wealth here tonight at the Fox 8 podium at Gallier Hall with some of the people behind us who aren't quite as fortunate to have such a great position as we do. But we're just having a ball. I can't believe these people haven't run out of beads yet, but they are definitely going bonkers at this point as they look into Kevin Henry's camera and feed us with more beads than we can ever want. Kevin, they're motioning for you. They want to send you a football. I don't know if you can take the catch. I know Kevin's an experienced football player, but he's busy with the lens of the camera, having a great time. Just an unbelievable amount of beads, as you can see behind us. And I know some kids back at the house who would love all of this, and I know there are a lot of people here who would love it too. And I'm just going to flip it out there to the crowd, and they enjoy it too. But everybody having a wonderful time. Not a single problem out here at Gallier Hall as far as the crowd is concerned. A beautiful night for a parade. And these guys might be a little bit tired once they get into the Superdome, but for now they have plenty of energy, and they are just showering us with nothing but love and affection. So they're headed your ways, guys. Enjoy.
You will be exiting onto the street, to the right or to the left. You will not go back into the building. Thank you very much. For those of you who have tickets
This special coverage of Endymion 2005 is sponsored by Wendy's 1 a.m. pickup window. Eat great, even late.
At the Endymion Extravaganza, the granddaddy of all the big parades. I guess they say that's the Rose Bowl, but for Mardi Gras terms, it's Endymion. And we've talked a couple of times tonight about the sort of new approach that Endymion has taken. It's sort of an interesting contrast tonight as you look at the majesty of some of the floral aspects of some of these floats as they come through. There's a very dark side to many of these floats with this mythological menagerie as the theme, the ogres and the gargoyles. But at the same time, they've softened that, as Rob was saying earlier, with a lot of a floral look. That's the end unit of the phoenix as it goes away. You know, the phoenix which rises from the ashes, and it's
lives
not
500 years. But they are scary. There are some scary ones, because the next one coming in is float number 13, the Sirens. And
but there you see the flowers there, a lot of the floral look. It's not, they don't go quite as majestic as Rex. I'm not suggesting that, because it is a nighttime parade and it works best with the fiber optics and the light. There's a lot of thought that's put into, you know, how light reflects and how they can get the most out of these fiber optics. But certainly over the last few years, Endymion has made a major effort to have something else to their presentation, something that's a little more traditional in that sense.
And as these floats come into the Superdome, as we mentioned, float number 13 coming into the Superdome next. Darryl Green is on the floor taking it all in. Darryl, what do you have?
I'm doing my best to take it all in. Rockin' Doopsie on the stage right now. Talking now with one of the members of the Top Cats. Of course, the Top Cats just got off the stage. This is Rob Schulte, one of the singers, and of course the drummer of the Top Cats. Rob, you guys have had a long day.
Oh yeah, we fired up this morning. We were at the Summer Gras celebration with our good friends at Chiwis. Then it was us, Boo Krewe, and then we had the Buckton All-Stars. And Gene Simmons came in and did Rock and Roll All Night was awesome.
Dude, I mean, how many songs, just rough guesstimate, how many songs did you guys play today?
Oh, well, after that show, we did about 10 songs, and then we got on the float, and we played for about 4 hours straight, coming through the whole city, and we just finished our setup on the main stage tonight. So it's over the top, and it's the only way.
How do you play for 4 straight hours? I mean, there are no breaks on those floats.
Right, I mean, the people in your face that pump you up, you make you do things you just believe we couldn't do, you know? But you can hear my voice is going a little weak. We're going to fire it up again tomorrow, though, over at the Ernst Bacchus Bash with the Chiwis and Rat Poison. So, and then wrap it up Monday at the Mardi Gras celebration at Riverwalk with the Chiwis as well. So,
you got Tuesday off?
I'm off Tuesday. I'm laying low. I'm coming over your house. We're gonna fire up the grill, take it easy, talk about all the things that are happening here tonight. Because I know me and you've been walking around. This place is out of control.
Rob Schulte. Rob Schulte with the Top Cats. This is Rob's own personal fan club, by the way, right here. Rob, thank you, man. Appreciate it, bud.
Take it down.
Nothing like a kiss from a drummer. Guys, back to you before something worse happens.
That's the first time I've seen that since George Bush and Joe Lieberman.
You know, the Top Cats have been playing here for a while. They've been playing with Endymion for quite some time. They were voted the best cover band by Gambit for 4 years in a row. And you know, one thing about Endymion, they really spotlight local bands. I mean, they don't always go for the big national bands. They do the Top Cats, the Bucktown All-Stars, the Nobles. They even do Cowboy Mouth, Fred LeBlanc from New Orleans. So, you know, they're all about local. They're all about New Orleans.
Hey, look at that.
He was saving that tonight.
Right there in your front seat in your living room. Gene Simmons has had apparently just a great time. He's got a website, genesimmons.com, of Kiss fame, and on there he has been doing a daily diary of his experience in New Orleans. I really am kind of looking forward to seeing what he says tomorrow about this ride. He says day 2 of Mardi Gras today, went to lunch with 2 beauties for the camera because he's got some reality show that he's shooting, and we're greeted by a local parade in our honor. Very sweet, he says. Spent the day touring New Orleans sights and sounds, had a feast. It's really funny to see an outsider's perspective on all of this. That, by the way, the whale.
Tell me about the whale.
I think the whale is the only happy character on the entire parade.
But if you look at the history, if you look at the story behind the whale shouldn't be happy.
No, he shouldn't. That's true.
The whale should not be happy. The whale is a result of a woman getting her frozen fingers cut off and having to float to the bottom of the ocean and all of a sudden become a whale.
In mythology.
Right.
Right.
So, there are a lot of stories. Believe us, we did our homework on this.
You have done an alarming amount of research.
Yes, we have. And people inside the dome they just aren't giving up. I mean, this party started at 7 o'clock, 6:45 actually, the doors open.
It is kind of a shame when you think about it, the thought that goes into these parades. And you know, it's nice when you're watching it on television, we're trying to share some of what they're aiming for here with their approach, because I think it's a little more natural to watch it on TV and say, oh, I see what they're going with that. Let's face it, if you're the third guy in line and you just want the big set of beads, you're not thinking about the mythological menagerie.
No, you're not. Actually, if you're in the Superdome and you've been here for several hours and you have your little table and your little setup, you're not thinking about that at all.
You're not thinking about much of anything but Rolaids and some Advil.
Exactly.
Eric Clemens is down in the crowd. Let's check in with him.
All right, guys, here's one of those fiber optic floats. It's one of the huge ones. I'm going to try to see how many I can catch. Like I said earlier, most of these beads were given to me, so I'll see if I get a. Can I get something? Can I get something? All right, there's one. There's 2. There's 3. You see that? All you need is a TV camera lights on. I'm going to throw these to people myself because that was almost unfair, wasn't it? That was almost unfair. I'll throw those away myself. Maybe I'll keep this one. That's a big bag, isn't it? But look at the size of this. I'm being hit in the back, hit in the side of the face. You really have to watch yourself and protect yourself with some of these because they will throw them and hit you right in the face with something like this, which could leave quite a wep on your face if you're not careful. I just got hit in the back, so I'm doing this and that. See that? 2 got me hit right in the face. So you really have to be careful when you're out here waiting for the beads to come. And because Paul, our cameraman, has the light on, we became a target. But at least now the float is passed, so I don't have any more pain in the top of my head. Guys, I came away with quite a bounty. I got quite a bit of jewelry and bling bling here. I'm probably going to give this away because I think I got enough webs upside my head. I'll probably need some ice packs later tonight. Let's go back to you.
Hey, thanks, Eric.
That's two people who need ice packs tonight. We're going to have an injured crew when we leave here.
They need some pain reliever throws. Rockin' Doopsie is doing his thing on stage. Let's listen in.
John, when I hear Rockin' Doopsie, I think of the next big party, Jazz Fest. But you know what? We're going to stick to one party at a time right now. We're going to stick to this party of 15,000 people in the Superdome. Summer Jackson is on the floor of the dome with more on the party.
There are some advantages to catching up with a float rider. Look at all this stuff I've got. I've got a football. I've collected a boa. I have Mark Taranto with me. He just got off of float number 7. Tell me what Mardi Gras has been like for you so far.
Oh, I love it. It's enjoyable. The weather was perfect. We're in a perfect ride. All the people were there and ready to catch them, and we had a good time.
Now, the party is just starting on the floor, but the party's been going on with you for quite some time now.
Actually, we started last night about 9 o'clock at the pre-parade party, and we'll probably go to about 4:30 this morning.
Wow, so you've got a long night ahead.
Oh, yeah, Cowboy Mouth. Cowboy Mouth comes on stage at 3 o'clock, and we'll be partying until about 4:30.
All right, well, we won't hold you up any longer. Go have some fun. Thanks a lot. As you can see, it's going to be a long night here, and even the folks who've been on those floats all the way from over in City Park are still ready to party. So you can imagine what this place is going to be like once this parade even ends. Back to you guys.
I love this guy. Hit me.
It's working.
Do you really want to be hit by these beads?
Apparently.
It looks like he's been hit by a bead.
I think he's made quite a haul.
Rockin' Doopsie on the stage here at the Superdome.
And some of the folks on the captain's table there who were shaking it, you would say, a bit ago.
Shaking it.
Shaking it.
Getting their groove on.
So, yeah, there was a certain unnamed city council member who was
go ahead, name
in
him.
a position that you wouldn't normally expect.
Now, you know, my favorite float just passed us, the Dolphins. And I say it's my favorite float. I mean, we talked about this mythology, but we went to look at the floats at Blaine Kern's Den a couple of weeks ago, and one of the things that we noticed was when we saw the dolphin float, clearly these were not dolphins. Although
They were mythological dolphins.
They're guppies. We talked to some of the riders, and the riders say, oh, they're definitely guppies. But the name of the float is Dolphins, so that's what we're going to go with. And look,
there they are right there.
There they are, the guppies, dolphins, blowing out bubbles in the Superdome. And I would say there is a little bit of a lull after this float coming into the dome.
It's probably another ground traffic control issue as they try to, you know.
I'm sure Eric Clemens is holding up traffic.
Choreography here involved in getting one big float out and the next one in.
You know, and we really weren't sure how this whole new setup was going to work inside the dome, but it seems to be going off without a hitch.
Yeah, for anybody who didn't catch that earlier, if you've ever been to the Endymion extravaganza, or I think obviously just about everybody's been in the Superdome itself, they used to bring them in, always have brought them in since 1981, and had them go all the way around the ends of the building where the stands begin. And this time they've sort of weaved it within the crowd, so there are almost as many people on one side of the float, the right side of the wheel, as there are on the left side. They did it, as Kim pointed out, for restroom reasons. They got complaints from people who were thousands of people who were trapped and couldn't get out during the course of that time. 3 hours as the parade came through. But I think it's really worked out very well because it's brought the parade more in the crowd here.
Yeah, and you know, it also helps the riders. I mean, think about the guys who were on the sidewalk side coming into the Superdome, and you really didn't have a whole lot of people to throw to. All the guys on the neutral ground side had the entire Endymion extravaganza standing in front of them, but the guys on the sidewalk side had the people on the stage and, you know, a few of us in the media to throw to, but that was about it.
So they've tweaked it, and I think it's worked out well. And a few little problems here and there. Ed Munez talked about some generator problems earlier, and then, of course, the big breakdown on float number 11, where apparently not one but 2 tires blew. Just a massive amount of weight. We talked earlier about one estimate on some of these tandem floats is in the neighborhood of 80,000 pounds of riders and throws that these tires are carrying.
And as float number 16 comes into the Superdome for the Endymion extravaganza, we're going to toss it to a break, and we'll be back with you in just a few minutes.
Tuxedos provided by Cohen's Formal Wear. Quality, style, and service since 1928. Don't go away. We'll be right back with more of Endymion 2005.
I need to know that.
He's going to hold up sketches. When Endymion really brought young people back into Mardi Gras, it started bringing in pop stars and actors, actresses, radio, television, you name it. They came to the parade and they really spiced it up. And the Grand Marshal of tonight's parade, Marissa Tomei, and people were so looking forward to her being here, and she was just absolutely having a ball. And if you don't know who Marissa Tomei is, she is an actress who I know her best from My Cousin Vinny. I mean, who doesn't? She's the gum-chomping, kind of a yat in My Cousin Vinny, but she's actually from Brooklyn, New York. And Marissa Tomei was absolutely having a ball when she came into the Superdome tonight. Yesterday we caught up with her at Brennan's Restaurant in New Orleans as she made her way into the city for the big party.
And she was sort of doing a little practicing. They had her kind of impromptu, you know, get her throwing arm ready, the cups.
Oh yeah, she didn't have any trouble tonight, believe me. She was just throwing the beads and just dancing and having a great time. She's got more than 30 movie credits to her name, but I really believe that this may be the best time she's ever had.
She very much enjoyed the role, and as we talked about earlier, you know, it was almost humbling. It was very attractive to watch somebody who didn't think it was kind of all about them. She really got an enormous kick out of being a part of this as a celebrity rider. And another celebrity rider, Gene Simmons, is with Darrell Green.
Guys, I got to say, first of all, I mean, I'm thrilled. This is Gene Simmons. I'm talking to Gene Simmons. This is really cool. Gene, first of all, welcome to Mardi Gras.
Thanks very much. We're having a ball here. I don't know if you can see it from where you are, but in back of you there are a million people.
I know it. Talk about your ride. What did you think on the float?
Well, first of all, you never saw so many great-looking girls. It must be something in the water in New Orleans, because these girls were astonishing. The amazing thing is, if I held up a little jewelry, the tops went up. I mean, the tops went up. Even the girls went up.
Gene, talk to me. I know you're in the music business primarily. You've got a new reality show coming up. What is this all about?
I can't tell you.
Seriously, you can't tell me?
Seriously, I can't tell you. We're shooting the Mardi Gras. We're shooting a few things, but I can't tell you.
You have to be thrilled to be delving into network television, though.
Not really. I mean, it's fun, but once you've been on stage in a band, especially like Kiss, everything is, it's not as exciting.
Final question, what is it like to play for probably the greatest rock and roll band in history?
Well, You know what? It really has less to do with the band and more to do with the fans. It's funny, I was thinking about that when I was on my float tonight at Mardi Gras. People think it's about me and being on stage, but when I look out there and I see the faces of the fans, it's unbelievable. It's a real thrill.
Can you do the tongue one time?
No, but I think you can.
Guys, back to you. Gene Simmons, thank you very much.
I'm really glad that he didn't do that.
I was hoping
Daryl,
to see, I was hoping to see Gene Simmons, fire breathing and
he's got, I think his magazine, he's in a bunch of different things, reality show. I think he's got Gene Simmons' Tongue is the name of his magazine, his new magazine, which not everybody can pull off. You think it's time to change the subject?
I think it's time.
I think it's perhaps past time. You know, the thing about Endymion is that a massive undertaking, as we've talked about it, and something that just doesn't pop up out of thin air. Actually, the beginning of this parade starts on paper, and this is, of course, the Phoenix float that we showed you just a couple of minutes ago, where some of the first serious work is deciding on a theme. They actually start with black and white, and then Kern Studios will run sketches by the Endymion officers to show what each float will look like. In 2 dimensions, they are remarkably similar to the final product, but everything on there but the lights. The Phoenix fits in nicely with the Endymion's theme tonight, which is the mythological menagerie. Long before Harry Potter, there was the Cerberus, the 3-headed dog. What did they call that
in the Harry Potter movie? His name was really fluffy, but
they called him Cerberus tonight. There is, as we mentioned earlier, a spooky side to Mardi Gras. Lots of creatures like gargoyles tonight, but a lot of the flowers too, softening it up as we talked about. Endymion has a well-deserved image for lots of glitz, fiber optic lighting, the latest technology that they put in with all of this, and it has made more of it an attempt really to capture the majesty of Mardi Gras, which you saw in the Pegasus float tonight, which contrasted nicely with many of the other characters, the giant roke, the legendary Arabian bird that would feast on large animals in the jungle, and that float had, I guess, an elephant running from it, all of which they actually do on paper first. It begins with a black and white drawing, and then from there the crew members, Ed Muniz, obviously the captain, the other officers say, okay, we're kind of liking where this is going. They actually are doing the planning now for next year. They will not let us say what they're working on because they don't want to have, you know, some theme come out, Endymion salutes TV shows, and then they don't do it. So they've got something they're working on already next year before this parade happens.
Right, it takes a whole year. I mean, the way they describe it, you know, they sit around at a table and say, all right, what do you think? Let's talk about it. I mean, it's just really informal the way they figure out what are we going to do. You know, how do we get 26 floats out of one idea?
Which is why Bacchus's idea, I think, is so great, and this is Endymion's night, but Bacchus tomorrow faced with a big problem. They looked at the calendar about a year ago, and it dawned on them that for the very first time in the history of the parade, they were going to roll on Super Bowl Sunday. Think, if you want to know how big Mardi Gras is in New Orleans, think about a club with 1,500 male members who say, oh, no, I want to do what the club does that night and not watch the Super Bowl. They decided to embrace it, their attitude, the old adage, if you can't beat them, join them, and they will salute all of the NFL cities tomorrow with individual throws, like a Boston throw, a Tennessee throw coming off the specific float. It's a great idea. The floats are wonderful. If you have a chance to take it in person, it's well worth it.
And every man in Bacchus and every man along the parade route is going to be happy tomorrow night. So you'll be pleasing everybody, except for maybe some of the women along the parade route, but we won't talk about that. Eric Clemens is in the dome, and there's no telling what he's up to at this point. Eric?
There's an advantage to being near the VIP stage like these folks are. I told you I would be boogieing. What's your name? Where you from?
I'm Chrissy Johnson. I'm from Metairie.
All right, now you see, you got a big advantage. You got the floats, and you got the music going. I tell you what, it's a great advantage to be right here. But again, you got to watch. They get a chance to hear the bands play, and they get a chance to get an up-close and personal look at all the floats go by. And there's some big ones that have gone by over the last few minutes here on the floor of Endymion. Then when a float passes, they get to dance again. Where you from? What's your name?
I'm from Baton Rouge.
Denise Gronowski.
Have you done Endymion before?
No.
Are you enjoying it so far?
Oh, yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot.
Now, how did you get this prime spot? You got the stage with the band on it up there. Then you're able to see all the floats go by.
Yeah.
You got bling bling.
Oh, yeah, I got it.
So what's the dances you're doing right now? I'm going to try to pick up something.
What?
I'm going to try to pick up something. What are the dances you're doing so far?
Just dancing.
Just moving with the music. Okay, we're moving with the music. We're moving with the music. We're enjoying that until the next float comes by. So until then, we'll toss it back to you guys.
Oh my goodness, we have Rob Masson trying to do the Mississippi Slide. We have Eric Clemens moving to the music on the floor. What's next? John?
He's having a little, oh no, I'm safely ensconced up here looking at the pretty thing in the sky, whatever that is. More of our coverage of Endymion's Extravaganza 2005 in a minute.
Welcome back to Fox 8 special coverage of Endymion 2005. Live from the Louisiana Superdome, here's John Snell and Kim Holden.
When you watch this parade come in, you forget this is a concert, too. It's a little difficult to forget that if you're down on the floor.
No, you definitely can't forget him. Right now, we're listening to Rockin' Dukesy, and he is just one of the most awesome performers. And I said earlier, I was looking forward to Jazz Fest. I just love listening to Rockin' Dukesy. He puts on a great show. He's on the stage right now. He's sweating. He's got the crowd riled up, getting them ready for what's to come.
He worked up about 2,000 calories just in that last song. Let's listen in a little. Rockin' Dukesy on stage at the Endymion Extravaganza.
And a little bit later on, we'll have Cowboy Mouth on stage. And wouldn't you know, Darryl Green has hooked up with Fred LeBlanc, lead singer of Cowboy Mouth, and he joins us now from the floor. Darryl?
Yeah, Fred's been giving me a little, what was that, the do-si-do?
It was something, I don't know. It was awesome, whatever it was.
Fred LeBlanc from Cowboy Mouth.
Woo!
Fred, you guys close out Endymion. I know last year.
Yep.
You're closing out again this year.
Yep.
Talk about the honor.
We are going to kick so much butt, musically physically, spiritually. It's going to be ungodly what we're going to do to this audience. Forgive me now, because there is no hope.
You must have been napping all day.
No, I've been going since 7 o'clock this morning.
Are you serious?
I swear.
I know you guys, Mardi Gras is your busiest time of the year. Talk about the past couple of weeks.
Oh, man, it's just been insane. This is actually the first Mardi Gras gig we've done. We're doing this tonight, and then we're playing a free show on South Peters at 3 o'clock on Monday on Mardi Gras. A free show. It's going to be insane, and you're going to be there, right?
I will be there.
You're going to be there, right?
I will be there. Hey, I know you guys are about to go into the studio and do some interesting things.
Yep, we already started. We got a new album coming out in about September, and that also is going to kick butt.
Yeah, you've got kind of an interesting producer, too, don't you?
We got a couple. We got a guy named Mitch Allen, but we also got the guitar player for Hootie producing a couple of things for us, too. Hootie and the Blowfish, who are playing before us tonight.
One of the special things about Endymion, of course, we got Marissa Tomei here. We got Ian Simmons. But they always honor the local artists, like you guys in the top cast.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Well, you know, I mean, it's an honor to play here. This is such an incredible, surreal, orgasmic experience.
Stand back. Fred's on the loose. Fred. Back to you, Kim and John.
Okay.
Just in time, I think.
And you know what, Fred is always like that. If you see Fred at noon or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, he's just the same way. He's just inspired.
Actually, if you see Fred on stage sometime, he's, if you can believe it, at times a little more wound up than that.
Absolutely. Well, you know, it has been a long day for Endymion fans and float riders. The party actually started at 11:30 this morning. It started at a music fest called Mardi Gras. Now, Mardi Gras hasn't been going on that long. It's been going on since, what, 1997? They decided they needed a way to really kick things off down on Orleans Avenue. It's called Fat Saturday. 4 different bands performed on a stage set up in the neutral ground on Orleans Avenue near City Park. The music played for the crowds. The riders got on their floats. Everything got geared up. The mayor showed up, handed over the keys of the city to the Grand Marshal, Marissa Tomei. And
I think the genesis of it is they just decided they needed something for Fred LeBlanc to do at 7:30.
Well, I think they needed something to entertain all those people who've been sitting out there for 4 days.
I think you're right. Endymion is an everyman's parade. The crew membership, of course, is a cross-section of people. They've had everybody from senators to cab drivers. And one of the interesting aspects about it is not only is membership open to everybody in the community, in fact, every crew member has a shot at becoming the king. The Endymion Ball held in early January at the Hilton Hotel downtown. And this is how it works. Every year, the Queen pulls the name of her king at the coronation ball.
And you know, as the tradition goes for Endymion, Monsignor Dosky actually pulled a second name from the wheel, and that person serves as an alternate in case something happens to the monarch. Now get this, only Monsignor Dosky sees the name. He puts it in the vault at St. Pius Church. Nobody else ever sees it. He never pulls it out unless something happens to the monarch, which I don't think that's ever happened. This year's monarch, Harry Meisel, Endymion 39, from Chalmette. He's been a member since 1982. He actually had to hold on to his crown that night, and it seemed his head was a little too big for the crown, which I thought was supposed to happen after you reigned as king. But apparently that night he had a little trouble getting the crown on.
Well, you know, he's been a member of Endymion since 1982. He lives in Chalmette, is an aircraft production controller for the Louisiana National Guard's 159th Fighter Wing. So a nice little bit of trivia there as a troop is honored with that kingship tonight. This year's queen is Christine Victoria Citron. We heard from her mom earlier. She started as a Mardi Gras page in the crew of Isis. Actually quite an athlete, a soccer player. She's on the Dean's List at the Art Institute of Philadelphia, majoring in fashion design, and one day wants to open her own independent nationwide boutique. It's nice to have goals.
Yes, it is, and I bet she goes back to Philadelphia with some stories tonight.
I'm quite sure that she saw many varied fashions this evening.
And definitely her mother. Did you see all those beads around her mom's neck?
The party, incredibly, is just getting started. It's frightening. It'll be going on until 3:30, 4:30 tonight, and they still have things to throw. That's the amazing thing. These guys they're not getting off because they have more to throw. And as they taunt the crowd, We'll practice a little capitalism here. Have more of our coverage of the Endymion extravaganza in a minute.
Tuxedos provided by Cohen's Formal Wear. Quality, style, and service since 1928. Don't go away. We'll be right back with more of Endymion 2005. This special coverage of Endymion 2005 is sponsored by Wendy's 1 a.m. pickup window. Eat great, even late.
Who does she have? All right, this is what you're going to see going on inside the Superdome for the next, how many hours? At least 5.
About 5.
About 5.
Frighteningly enough.
Really, the party is just starting. This is the new Endymion dancing doll. Actually not new, maybe a year old, but the hot item this year along the parade route.
And then later tonight, you'll see a lot of this happening. A lot of that will happen here as the evening rolls on. Summer Jackson's down in the midst of the party.
You guys, I'm having a great time here on the floor. Like I told you earlier, this is my first Endymion, and part of the reason I'm having a great time is because I love music, and the music has been great, the entertainment. I have Greg Buson here with me. He lines up all of this great entertainment.
Well, I got to tell you, everybody's had a great time. Marissa Tomei has been a gracious and wonderful Grand Marshal. She loves New Orleans. We had from Sex and the City, Willie Garson. He had the greatest time out here. He loves Jazz Fest, but he said Mardi Gras tops it. We had from the Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, Tom Felicia, Gene Simmons from KISS. We got one of the greatest ambassadors of Louisiana in Rocket Doopsie on stage. How do you top Mardi Gras? How do you top Endymion?
And we're still waiting on the Pointer Sisters.
Pointer Sisters are coming up next, and then Hootie and the Blowfish. At about 4 o'clock in the morning, people might go to bed.
Thanks a lot. It's been a great evening.
That's great. Good. Congratulations. Thank you.
It has been a great evening. The mood is great here. People are having a wonderful time on the floor. Lots of excitement. And like he said, it's been several hours, but the party is really just getting started. I'm going to toss things over to Daryl to see how he's doing on his side. Daryl?
Well, summer float number 432 just rolled by. No, I'm just kidding. Honestly, it's like it's 11:30 at night or something like that. And believe it or not, this party is just getting going. Some 15,000 strong are down here in the pit, and literally, it seems like the crowd's growing. I don't think that's possible, but this has been a ton of fun. We've talked to almost every musician in the group. Rockin' Doopsie, rockin' right now. Hootie and the Blowfish coming up in just a little bit, followed by Cowboy Mouth to close things out at 2 o'clock. Wow, this just seems so much bigger than last year. Of course, it seems like every year Endymion seems bigger than last year. Kim and John, back to you.
You know what's different?
What's that?
We have no beats.
That's true, because we were farther away with the new configuration this year.
Yeah, and we didn't get pelted, nothing. So guess what that means?
That we'll be going down there.
We still have about 12 more floats to go.
Putting on some body armor and going down and trying it ourselves.
Yes, indeed.
Well, it's been a terrific ride tonight. 15,000 people, and as frightening as it is, the party is just getting going. We hope you enjoyed our little trip with you inside the Superdome for Endymion. Of course, more of our special coverage coming up throughout the weekend. For now, for Kim Holden, I'm John Snell. Thanks for watching. Happy Mardi Gras.
Good night.